My favorite guest from the Super Bowl. I love this guy. I would kill to get him as a weekly Odyssey NFL insider.
Thank you.
Mark Schlereth, the Super Bowl champ from Washington and Denver, going off on Jerry Jones with the Stinking Truth podcast.
This is my issue with the Cowboys, is I think it's a lot more about organizational structure than I do about the quarterback that you've got playing. I think that ultimately you never empower people, and therefore your organization, when it becomes nut-cutting time, your organization falls apart. And what's the old saying in the NFL? I don't want people who point the finger. I want people who pull the thumb. I want responsibility takers. And ultimately, you create an organization. This is why I think the Cowboys, I think under Jerry, they're just not going to win. Because you create an organization of finger pointers. You create an organization of guys who don't take responsibility. It's the old saying in the NFL is availability is the number one ability. Bullshit. Responsibility is the number one ability. That's what sets you apart from winning.
Okay. It's the second time this offseason he has talked about the Cowboys. First time I remember he was defending their free agent strategy.
Yes.
Right, saying that teams that delve into the first.
Well, third time he talked with us.
Yes, well, yeah. But teams that delve into the free agent pool, don't generally come out on top. No big deal. But now he's going for Jerry, saying Jerry's created this culture of no responsibility. And I mean, look, I think the Jerry narratives are skewed. They're done. Like, they have this narrative that he's this gunslinging wild man. He'll sign anybody. He'll write any check.
Interferes.
He'll interfere. He'll draft whoever he wants. That's not really the case. But there is a culture of no responsibility in a sense that, like, he never takes responsibility.
Right.
He's never fired himself as the general manager.
Yep.
He's fired coaches. He's gotten rid of quarterbacks. He's scapegoated offensive coordinators. But if you always notice, the roster's always good.
Yes.
Linebackers.
Linebackers are fine last year.
We got a great roster. Why do you have a great roster? Because I built it. So he never puts the blame on himself.
I'll say the whole fired himself as GM. I think that's he has the title. He does not operate the way a normal GM does. He has sort of stepped back and just more builds a consensus and then either approves it or vetoes it,
which is how a normal GM acts.
But a lot of times GMs are making they're much more in control of making and not to say that there's been this hostile takeover. I think it's like a willing step back of I want you guys to cultivate consensus, tell me what it is, and generally I'm going to go with it. Every now and then I might veto though, and I might say I still think this is what's best for us. And so I think he has stepped back a little bit more than he has in years past. And so I think that just because he holds the title of GM, I don't think, and he is legitimately general manager, the buck stops with him, but I think ultimately...
But to me, the main question is a feeling of lack of accountability, does that permeate through? Let's take Schler's point there. Do you think this is a very accountable organization and football team, Bobby Belt?
I don't think it's a very accountable locker room at times. I think they
do have a hard time a lot of times being like, oh, that all stems from Jerry. You know what I mean? We've all worked for people in the past, okay, that you may not have loved, but you still can be your own person, right?
Yeah.
If someone above you doesn't have the greatest work ethic, it doesn't mean that all of us are going to sit there and slack off. Of course, I'm not talking about 105.3 The Fan. I'm just talking about your bosses, people above you in general.
Peyton, him slacking off.
Other than Peyton. So, with Jerry, do they all take their cues from Jerry, not blaming himself and saying, I'm not going to blame myself after this game? I have a hard time connecting that, and I think a lot of times that's a stretch. I don't know. I could be wrong.
No, I've made no bones about it. I don't think Mike McCarthy takes enough accountability for what happens here. I think that he's too quick to try and externalize whatever the issues are.
And I don't think Jason did either.
No, and that's fair. But I think that occurs, and I think at times they're players who don't take enough responsibility. I think that there are plenty who do. I think that, Stephon Gilmore after the season took a lot of accountability for the way things ended. Brandon Cooks did. Dak has routinely said, hey, if you're going to call, there was that quote after the season. If you're going to call Mike into question, call me into question. Like, you gotta put it on me too. So
CD later on.
Yeah. So guys do. I just don't know that. I think one of the things they definitely want to acquire, one of the traits they're going to look to acquire this offseason is they do want better player leadership overall. And so I think that is going to be important to them in their team building.
These old heads, you don't want to sit there and get people who are 30, 31, 32, but you bring in Bobby Wagner's, you bring in Stephon Gilmore's, you bring in
Brandon Cooks,
seasoned professionals to sit there and be like, no, this is not the way that we do it. I believe there's tremendous value in that.
And to be fair, Steven, this offseason, we've given him credit for the couple times that he said, fans have every right to be mad, and we can sit there and believe what we're doing, but ultimately, it has to be better in the playoffs. They have every right to be upset about it because we haven't done in the postseason what we've said we were supposed to do in the postseason. So I don't have any I think that level of responsibility is good. Again, the problem I have with responsibility is a little bit of the notion that seems to come from the head coach of won 12 games in a row. We've built a championship program. You were not brought in here to win 12 games 3 years in a row. You were brought in here to be different from Jason. You've been the exact same as Jason Garrett in January.
Yes, but he's been far more consistent than Jason in the regular season.
But that's not what he was hired to do. And they've won and they've been minimum 500 or above
every year.
Every year other than when a quarterback
when Romo got hurt. I get it. That goes back to Parcells in the years
05.
Yeah. But he has been more consistent. Dak has taken a step under Mike and under Kellen too.
Let me ask this question. How many off-season openings are there usually now on average?
Head coaching?
Yeah.
What, 6 or 7?
All right. So let's say there's 7 next year and they lose in the first or second round in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Is Mike McCarthy definitely employed by someone else?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Nope.
1,000%.
Nope.
You think he's gobbled up?
He may take a year off.
This is his last job.
It's not because here's the other thing.
What are we going to put on this right now?
When do the Cowboys get eliminated? If they get eliminated,
I just said first or second round.
No, I know, but I'm saying so the hiring processes have already started, so he might be late to the, you know what I mean.
All right, let's say they lose.
He absolutely
30-27 to Green Bay round 1.
He absolutely gets a job. He almost had 2 the last time with the Jets. He would have had that one too. You don't win, especially if he wins 12 games again. You're not going to win 48 games in a 4-year stretch and not get hired.
He's what, the second oldest coach in the NFL right now? Teams are not hiring a mid-60s head coach who's developed a reputation of completely falling short in January.
He also has a Super Bowl ring. They hired Sean Payton.
Entire show in your underwear, bet or something that he doesn't.
That's not a punishment for him.
I'll do a show. I'll do a show.
Especially on soda.
Do it right now. Then go ahead.
Yeah,
drop trout
right now.
Right now,
Ryan, don't do it. Don't pan down.
Yeah, pan down. Pan down, Ryan.
Oh no, God. Ryan,
shirt off too.
Ryan,
shirt off too, Chop.
Ryan, don't do it. See,
we should have to make him do a whole show without a hat on. Is what we should have him do.
Ryan does not have the shot up on the fan cam Twitch and YouTube. What type are they? What type of underwear are we working with over
they're
here?
Puma.
They're Puma. They're the boxer briefs.
Yeah, who wears regular boxers anymore?
No, I know. I'm just saying they're the boxer briefs. They're
there it is.
They look like bicycle shorts almost.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Look at the diamond cast.
Al Bundy.
Oh yeah. Look at the diamond cast.
Al Bundy,
good.
more like Al Dumpy. Look at that thing.
There's no dumpy there. That thing is flatter than your mom.
All right, so
oh, your ass isn't sunk in 6 feet.
Yeah.
Jeez, Bobby.
What did you?
I said his ass isn't sunk in 6 feet. So
you topped his dead mom joke. Sorry, kids.
Maybe I do need to go back to therapy.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think it did jack squat. But there we are. We're set for a Mike McCarthy next job bet.
There's zero chance he gets another job.
Zero?
This is it.
Wow.
I mean, Ron Rivera got a job with Washington. I have those. Sean Payton about the same age as Mike.
Although Pete Carroll might not be able to get one, even though he's older.
I mean, this is his Ron Rivera gig, though. This is Mike's Ron Rivera gig.
Yeah, and look what he's done with it, though.
Yeah, he's done well.
He's fallen completely short with
and
the
he was
roster.
far
There, but
more,
he said
and he was more successful than Ron was in his previous stop.
Ron went to no.
Oh, no. Ron went to the playoffs 3 times.
Ron went to a Super Bowl.
I bet
Mike won a Super Bowl.
But
Does
I'm saying
everybody just forget this?
you're talking about how he's been more successful here than his previous stop.
No.
I thought you were saying he's been more successful in Dallas than
Mike's
Rivera
previous
was.
stop was more successful than Ron's previous stop.
The whole thing is that this is it for McCarthy because you're talking about a coach who's in his early to mid 60s by the time he's going to be. He's the second oldest coach in the NFL.
Okay, so what?
He's not going to get hired. It's not the direction of the NFL. The average age of an NFL coach is 45.
I think.
Do you know who hires people?
I will
Old
make you.
white
I will.
men. They love 60-year-olds.
Make
whatever their wheelhouse.
Whatever bet you want, we will make.
I think Choppy would end up being right on this.
Okay,
I'm gonna side with Choppy.
I'm telling you from talking to people, this is the end for him.
You talked to all 30
Dan
owners.
Quinn was
just
just
all 30
hired.
owners.
I don't know. Why don't you go back to Big 12 Combine and see who I talked to, Shan?
And there might be people throughout the league who
No, keep those shorts off, Chop.
there might be people throughout the league who go, what was McCarthy supposed to? How was he supposed to get over the hump with Dak? It might be a split. Like what was he supposed to do? The quarterback didn't play well in the postseason.
And then there are also other people who say, how was Dak supposed to get over the hump with that head coach?
I mean, look.
Especially
Rivera got a
conversations
job.
that were probably
Sean
had
Payton
around the
got
bye
a
week
job.
by people in
Lovie
this building.
Smith got 3 jobs. Plenty of guys out there that have gotten multiple opportunities to coach. Like if someone's gonna hire Bill,
can McCarthy? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe McCarthy will get one of those. I guess I shouldn't say 100%. Maybe he gets one of those David Culley mercy jobs for a year to cover over as a bridge. But ultimately, no. I think honestly, Mike's going to be tired after this. I think it's going to be mutual. I don't think anybody's going to want to hire him. I think he's going to want to be done.
He might want to retire.
That's
I don't
different.
know. He might.
This job has 100%. I don't think he had any expectation of how much this job was going to wear him out. Dallas. I don't think he had any real expectation what Dallas meant versus what Green Bay
Which is
meant.
really hard to imagine that you were blindsided by it. Like, seriously. Did they not have televisions in Green Bay? Like, do you not know what we're covering here and what we're dealing with? Are you still in the underwear?
Yeah, I'm in the underwear.
Okay.
Get a little chilly, too.
He's still
Looks
in the
like
underwear.
Yeah, it does.
Now he goes, puts the shirts back on.
You know,